Let's try playing back some audio files through one of our terminals. There's a number of ways you would do this, but normally you would first make your way to wherever you have your audio files. In this case, in my other folder, I have a couple of files in here. Some WAV files, some MP3 files, even a FLAC. Normally, when you're doing this and you ask, how do I play an audio file through my terminal? Something that gets told pretty often is to use ffplay. So you type ffplay and then whatever you want to play, like a kivsound.wave. Awesome. That's pretty nice, and it works very easily. Let's try ffplay skilly.wave. Cool, that one plays great. But this utility, ffplay, doesn't really work for a lot of other audio files. Let's try playing crayonwhat.mp3. Ah, lovely ear-bleeding static. Let's try a different one. If I get into my tracker folder, let's play something like hybridsong.xm. So running ffplay hybridsong.xm. Well, I have nightmares for life now. It doesn't work that well. So what's going on here? Well, for some files, the data stream itself contains the samples used in the song. In a WAV file, this is how it works. When you look at the raw data stream of a WAV file, it has PCM samples being played inside of it. If I go over here to my recording window for my microphone, you can see it's being recorded and there's a waveform right here. However, in other audio files like XMs or MP3s, that's not the case. It doesn't have PCM samples inside of the file itself because that takes up a fair bit of space. When you care about compression more, instead of having the sample directly in it, you have code saying, play this type of sound for this long, but you don't actually include the sample itself. This can save space because you're forcing the computer itself to render the sample rather than playing it back inside of the large file's data stream. I'm simplifying this a bit to make it a little easier to understand, but all you really need to know is that this ffplay utility that people usually recommend for doing this sort of thing doesn't work that great. Let's try playing something else like jet lag. Ah, lovely. Five Nights at Freddy's jump scare material. It doesn't work that great. So what do you actually want to use instead? Enter ffplay. What is ffplay? Well, if I read the manual page, just for a second here, you see the description of it tells us it is a very simple and portable media player using the ffmpeg libraries and the SDL library. Now, granted, if you don't really know what that means, that's fine. All you need to know is that it's great. It works awesome. Remember those same audio files earlier that were not doing well with ffplay? Let's try using them with ffplay instead. The way how this works is just the same as ffplay. Type ffplay, whatever file you want it to play. Lovely music, played almost instantly, no matter the file type, and you get a cool ass window showing you the spectrum analyzer view. I think it's playing the left channel in red and the right channel in green, but I'm not totally certain. I could have those two mixed up. Where they overlap, it causes just a white or bright audio stream being played. I can pause this by pressing Q, closing the window, or going back to the terminal and doing Control-C. Control-C is a very useful thing to learn because it's how you interrupt any kind of program that's being run inside of a terminal. There's other sorts of things you can learn too with the terminal, like Control-R for searching, Control-L to clear the screen, which is what I've been doing this whole time, and there's a bunch of other ones too. So, instead of using ffplay, try using ffplay. This works for XMs, it even works for S3Ms, which don't normally show up in VLC. If I bring up VLC right here, try to add some S3Ms here, normally VLC has this selected to media files. So if I open up my folder here, nothing shows up. Why can't I play anything? What you're supposed to do is go down here to media files and make sure to select all files instead. Then they show up and they can play fine. But if you didn't know that, you'd be sitting here thinking that it doesn't work. Well, you have the files here. How do I play them? Well, open up a terminal really quickly, and again, use that ffplay utility. There you go. Being played perfectly fine. It even shows you all sorts of other cool information in the file, like what version you're using, and then a whole bunch of configuration info, and then metadata on the file itself. In this case, I can see some of the original text that was written here around March 1997 by some of the makers of this particular S3M, which is pretty cool. I'm 90% certain that these links are not up anymore, but hey, maybe the Internet Archive has them. And of course, you can also use it to play those MP3s that we were trying to play earlier. Let's try playing this FLAC file that wasn't working earlier. ffplay, and then the FLAC.
She said, let's start from the top, just rid of everything.
Truly sad boy hours. But it works perfectly fine. And like I've been saying this whole time, you can use this for all sorts of other files too. Like this Prida snare sample that I have. Otherwise known as the dubstep snare. You can even use it to play back, quote unquote, play back files that aren't necessarily audio. If I go to my pictures folder, specifically my memes folder, I have a whole bunch of memes here, like metal.jpg. If I changed metal.jpg to instead be a wave and tried to play it like it was an audio file, the actual data inside this file doesn't contain samples, it doesn't contain audio, it contains image information. So if I used aplay on it, it sounds terrible. And also, it's very, very short because it's a very small file. However, if I used ffplay on this metal, even though it has the extension of a wave, all the image data inside of it is image data and has not been changed at all. So when I run ffplay, it plays the image. It just shows it. Even though the file type says it's a wave, the image data inside of it is image data. So ffplay recognizes this and just plays it the sensible way it should be played, as an image. I should probably rename metal.wave back to a JPEG, so that doesn't confuse me later when I try to use something else. What is beans.jpg? Well, it's beans. I really should have seen that one coming. You can use ffplay on all sorts of files here, and it's great. Highly, highly, highly recommended. Hope you're having a wonderful day, and take care.